Hi, guys. Happy Tuesday. This week I got a little thrown off with the holidays. I'm glad you're here. This coffee chat today was actually created by you guys. This is in response to a poll that I put out probably a few months back. I think it was around the holidays um, inside the group. So definitely answer the polls when I ask questions because they come things come of the polls. I'm like creating, new coffee chats, new educational things for you guys. So that really helps me a lot. If you're hopping on, say hey, let me know where you're from. If you're catching the replay, definitely hashtag replay so that I can come back and answer your questions. These coffee chats are conversational. And today, you guys loudly told me in that poll the number one thing that you needed help with. So I heard you, and what we're going to talk about today is that number one thing. So if you're hopping on, say hi, let me know you're here so I can chat back and forth with you. So you guys told me you needed help with what to do when other people around you are talking about their bodies, or they're talking about dieting, or maybe they're talking about your body. So how do we turn conversations away from the food and the body talk? That's what we're going to talk about today. This is something that you've struggled with. Definitely say me in comments so I can see you and we can chat about that. So we're also going to go into like how not to be jealous when you see something on social media where people are talking about their weight loss. How to stop comparing yourself to other people, all the stuff. So all this stuff I've heard you guys tell me, and it's come up in the group several times. So if you guys can relate to this, definitely let me know. Okay, the number one thing that I want to start with is when it comes to people's words and behaviors and body language at events, or when we go out to picnics, holidays, family reunions, you name it. The number one thing I want you guys to know first is to expect it. So many times diet culture is wild at these events. Hey, glad you're hopping on. Let me know who you are so I can, or let StreamYard have access so I can see who you are and where you're from. I'm glad you're joining me today. I'm going to start with like these gatherings because we just had the 4th of July. It's probably several different like family reunions, barbecues, the holidays will come up. There's always gatherings where we get around people, family, friends, no matter where you are, no matter what time of the year. So I think this is a huge topic to be talking about today. First of all, I want you to expect to hear and to see other people talking about dieting and talking about losing weight in the moment. You know, when I say in the moment, I have the air quotes because we all know that diets don't work. So expect to see this if this is what you've seen over and over and over again. Expect your mom, expect your sister, expect your aunts, your cousins, whoever it is at these events to probably be talking about that again. Expect them to comment on your body if that's what they've always done. So what I'm saying is I want you to remember that we live in a world of diet cultures. We talk about that a lot in this group. And we live in a society just driven by diet culture. The relentless pursuit of being thin, the thin ideal, the thin body is what most of us women have grown up with, at least in this country, in this culture here. So most women, I want you guys to think about this. You know, when you think about expecting it, think about most women, they don't even know there is such a thing as diet culture. So I'm teaching about it a lot in here to raise awareness. We're ditching diets together, but most people don't even know that there's diet culture. Hey guys, I'm glad you're hopping on. Let me know who you are, where you're from, or give StreamYard access so I can see your name. And definitely ask me any questions as we go through this. So back to women and diet culture. Most women don't even know there's such a thing, right? This is just how the world works. It's how we grew up. We were immersed in it. I think if you start to become aware of diet culture, you start to notice that most women aren't even aware that dieting was optional or that they didn't have to diet. So, hang on, the cat is getting in the Chick-fil-A. Honey, I can't stop the cat. Sorry. Oh, we have lunch waiting on the counter, guys. All right, so back to that. So have reasonable expectations is what I'm trying to say. Just know that most of us don't actually know that dieting was an option for us. So you might be here in this group and have discovered the truth about dieting and be super excited about it, intuitive eating, body neutrality, all of the things. But remember that most women really haven't. And your Aunt Susie or your cousin, they probably don't know. I did. He saved my lunch. I needed that. So your Aunt Susie, your cousin, whoever these people are that are always commenting, they will likely be dieting every event that you see them, if that's their pattern, because we know that's a pattern. So we all know that you go on and off diets pretty much your whole life. From the time you start dieting, it's on off until you decide that you want to step off that train. So I want you to just know to expect it. Just because you've learned about diet culture doesn't mean that they have and that everything's going to be different. You're going to still experience these events, these situations. And so becoming aware of it is going to be huge. So let's talk about becoming aware. Don't expect your friends or your family that have been on the roller coaster, that have been dieting for years and years and years, to all of a sudden stop talking about their body or stop talking about your body if they're making comments. So maybe, and this is something to think about, maybe there was this thing that you guys had in common, and maybe that you bonded over weight loss or dieting or nutrition or the gym. So maybe some of these people that were at these events, that was the one thing that you have in common. So that's something to think about. How many of you guys can relate to that? Because I know I can, having something like that in common with somebody, prior to becoming an intuitive eater. So how many of you guys have connected to certain people in your life because you have the same dieting habits or the same behaviors? Maybe you met friends at Weight Watchers or something like that. So I guess I want to say that as far as you're concerned, as your aunt or your sister or this person commenting at the barbecue, you come in and you're talking about diet culture and they don't understand what this is. And they're excited because they've lost weight this time around and they're feeling good in the moment. So as far as they're concerned, you're the weirdo, you have to think of it from their perspective. So let's think about, I'm going to use mom for an example, because I know a lot of women that I work with, when we get back to talking about your diet history, where it first began, it can come back to your mom, your grandmother, a female figure in your life. So let's use mom for an example. So who for decades, maybe for as long as you can remember, has been commenting on your body. So, and I've seen this happen. I've had people talk to me about, when they were young, when their mom started commenting on their body. If she's been doing that your whole life, then that's probably not going to change. She's still going to be there this year at the big event, at the barbecue, whatever's coming up. And I want you to get introspective with me for a minute. You're the one that's allowed this to happen your whole life. Now, I know it might have been from a very young age, but you've allowed kind of this relationship with your mom to go on to be commenting about your body and things like that. So if you take a minute to put yourself in her shoes, this is always really hard to do. So think about it ahead of time. Put yourself in her shoes. As far as she knows, she loves you and she's watching out for your health and she's trying to take care of you. You're her daughter. So this is what she's doing because she sees that she loves you. So I know that you know that when she comments on your body, it makes no sense whatsoever, but she doesn't know that. So these are the things I want you to think about going into the situations. Why would you expect it to be different? You might be different now, but why would you expect it from her? She doesn't know that. I think we have another comment. Yes. Yeah. So I think 100% this is where we have to look at ourselves and how we're reacting and how we're responding to these comments. So why don't we just jump on into that? And I think the number one thing is we have to learn to accept it, put on our big girl panties, and take responsibility for our actions, for ourselves. So only you can change you and how you respond and you react. Only you can control you. You can't control other people. And this has been the hardest thing for me to learn, right? In my journey in so many areas of my life. Only people can change themselves. You can't change them. So you're not responsible for what might come out of your Aunt Belinda's mouth, at the next barbecue or at the next Thanksgiving table. You can only control how you receive their words. So taking responsibility for your own thoughts and your own behaviors, it's one of the most important things that we work on, specifically inside of finding body freedom. So I teach you guys exactly how to create your own emotion and how you can change that. So we create the reality through the way that our thoughts create emotions, and those emotions play out in the way that we live. So the shame that you feel from these people that are commenting, saying these things, it's actually created by your thoughts. So shame doesn't jump from like your mama's mouth into your body. It was created because you let yourself have thoughts because she said something. After those words, they kind of like ruminated in your brain. And I just want to say that words, they're just a string of sound. How many of you guys can relate to people saying something and you replay it over and over in your mind? Just say yes in comments. Phrases or sentences, they're just a string of words put together. And other people's words don't create those emotions. It's our thoughts about their words that creates an emotion. It's our agreement or our disagreement with their words. So let's just look at another example, because we know diets don't work, right? I think we have another comment for this example. Yep. Okay, I'll definitely come back and see in the comments, and we can chat about this. We'll circle back. But we know that diets don't work in here. And we know that when we go off a diet, what usually happens? Our weight starts to creep up, sometimes plus some. Then we might have someone tell us, you've gained weight. I had that happen once. And those words can hurt if you don't and aren't prepared for them. And I wasn't at the time. So then we might have someone tell us, you've gained weight. You might have heard those words before too. You might have felt shameful at one point about your body when somebody says that to you. You might think that this person is shaming you. That person's awful. Why would she say something like that to me, right? How could they be so rude? I'm thinking of all the things that kind of like initially go through your brain. But that wasn't really what happened. I'm thinking about myself in particular, and this woman that I probably saw once a year saw me, and I was really happy at that point in my life. And she says, "Oh, you've gained weight." And I didn't even think anything about my body at that point. But when someone says you put on weight, the sound of those words, it's filtered through your brain for analysis based off your own past experiences, your own traumas. Your brain then creates this opinion. And that other person's words, that opinion that they have becomes a thought in your brain. And that thought probably goes something like this. Oh my God, she's right. I'm fat. I'm ugly. The thought. So it starts, and then usually it spirals, and you get this downward spiral. I guarantee you, though, it travels through your nervous system, and then you feel an emotion, which is usually shame, that shame spiral. So we create this emotion of shame, not the other person's words. So for someone, I'm going to put this up here so you can see it, because this is probably like the most important line of this whole chat. You might want to write it down, because I think this is worth thousands of dollars in therapy. But for someone's words to create an emotion in our body, we have to agree with what they're saying. And we're so often in therapy to manage other people's words about us. And here's the thing that I've learned through working with others and through doing the work myself, is that you can coach yourself, and you can understand how these emotions are created in your own body, in your own life, and that other people's words were not really the problem, but how you interpret what they're saying, how you interpret their words. So this right here is a game changer. So write it down. What this means, guys, is that you're in control here of your emotions. You are in control of your reactions and ultimately of your reality. So when I'm working with clients through Finding Body Freedom, we come up with what we call a plan. Like, we anticipate these things are going to happen, because you look at yourself, every year going to these situations with family, with friends, these gatherings, we know they're not going to change, right? We can change what we do and how we react to them. So I think, honestly, rather than worried about what they're saying, and we'll talk about like how we can react to that in a minute, but I think this is ultimately like the game changer, the best part of this coffee chat, is that you can control your emotions, and changing what you believe about what you think is so important. So if you're in a state right now where maybe this past weekend, maybe you were at a family barbecue, maybe friends said something, maybe you got in a bathing suit on the lake and somebody made a comment, or you were just out on the boat and your friends were talking about their diet stuff, their weight loss stuff. if you're in a state where you're being triggered by these comments from people about your body or about other people's diets, see this as an opportunity to work on your own shift. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you to identify an area to work on yourself. And trust me when I say this, that we all have beliefs that we need to work on. I'm a recovering people pleaser. You've heard me say it before. I used to get so caught up in my head over other people's words and what they meant by that. I mean, the conversation would be long over and I couldn't let it go. What did they mean by that? What, it would just replay over and over in my head. How could I have said that differently? How, all of those things would create these emotions inside of me, and I didn't like it. So what did I do? I did the work to change, to learn, to grow, to up-level my thinking and my beliefs. And so it took a while. It took a lot of work, but I want to bring up another example. And this is one that, I kind of see a lot, or I have some clients and they'll tell me, I'll be working with them, they'll tell me when I was scrolling through social media and you see one of your friends' pictures and they've lost weight, where they're side by side. Look at me, I've lost weight, this and that. You start to get jealous and you start to compare. Well, what this is your own thoughts about that person and their weight loss. And the thoughts probably go like this: oh my God, did she really lose that weight? Oh my God, she looks so good. Why can't I do this? What something's wrong with me. Why can't I do this? What's wrong with my body? Why can't, and then just fill in the blanks. These are thoughts that you're having when you're looking at someone else's body, and it's creating an emotion. And that emotion is jealousy or comparison. So that's your work to do, and you have to change your belief system around your body size. We talk about this a lot in Finding Body Freedom as well. If you want more information on Finding Body Freedom, just put freedom in the comments and we can chat about that. But we call this internalized because it's inside of you, internalized fat phobia. This is where you believe that being thinner is better. You have to change that. So we go through this extensively in my program. So these emotions, jealousy, comparison, these emotions are telling us something. They're telling us that we have more work to do. So how? I'm only asking you, okay, Wendy, how do we go about this? How do we go about changing an entire belief system about dieting, body size, and comparison? So let's just start with some kind of short-term things that you can do to implement today. And the first one is have a heck of a lot of compassion. I say this a lot when you're going through the process to find freedom with your body, freedom with food, heal your relationship with food. We need a lot of compassion. And the fact that you are being triggered, first of all, it's real and it's normal and it is expected. It's a part of this process that we're going through. So your belief system, if you're new to this group and maybe you haven't gone through the process or you don't know what intuitive eating is or any of these things, it's built on diet culture's influence. All of us probably coming into this group, our belief system has been built on diet culture's influence. So we're indoctrinated, we're almost like born as women into this diet culture. And from a very, very young age, we're given Barbie dolls that this is how we're supposed to look, right? It's normal for us to have these beliefs, is what I'm saying. Just bottom line. And until you take the voluntary action to change your beliefs, these things, these emotions are going to continue to keep showing up for you. They're going to keep bubbling up from inside. So yeah, type me if this is something you're dealing with, and I can circle back. We can chat in the DMs. We can set up a free coffee chat, whatever. But also have a heck of a lot of compassion for your mom, for your aunt, for your cousin, your best friend, whoever has been saying these things to you, because they don't know. Like, they don't know what they don't know, right? And think about it. You were probably there, maybe even just a week ago, maybe a month ago. Maybe you're currently trying to sift through these patterns and these beliefs and these behaviors. Maybe it's been a few years, but you were there once. And I just want you to know that it's not your responsibility to change them unless they ask for information. Well, what's all this intuitive stuff you're talking about? What do you mean you're working on, healing your relationship with food? You're not dieting anymore. What do you mean by diet culture? So unless they ask you for these things, they're not ready. And when they're ready, they'll come. They'll come. Just have compassion for where they're at, and take responsibility for yourself. How many of you guys can relate to this with me? I want you guys to set this intention today. I'm taking responsibility for myself. I acknowledge that I'm transitioning into my own belief system about dieting, about my body. And during this time, I'll be triggered by diet talk and that person or the comments that might be made about my body. I'm doing the work and they're not. So this is your journey. That's theirs. This is your choice. That's theirs. Only you can change you. So then prepare yourself. So this is the next part of it, and we teach this in Finding Body Freedom, is to prepare yourself for what's to come. Prepare yourself for the diet talk. Prepare yourself for the encounters with these people, holidays, barbecues, family reunions. So you know that you're worried about the emotion that you're going to feel inside your body because of the way that their comments make you feel. What you're afraid of isn't their words exactly. You're afraid of that feeling, of feeling shame when you go there to the gathering and they say those things to you. And going into that shame spiral in your head. So let me just ask you this, you guys. So this is part of what I teach in Finding Body Freedom, that I want to propose it to you today. And we kind of go through this extensively, but I want to propose it to you like this today. What if you decided how you were going to think about what they said in advance? Like, come up with a plan of action. This is, how you can change the game, how you can have some control back, is while you work to transition this belief system, to learn more about diet culture, to accept your body, all of the things. When people start to talk about dieting at these gatherings, what if you think, well, it's normal for people to have these kinds of conversations because they don't know about diet culture. What if you think, well, she grew up in diet culture. She feels shame for her own body, because we all did too. And then you think, well, that's why they're saying these things to me. So you have some compassion. She feels shame for her own body. That's why she says these things to me. What if when you saw your friend show up and she's lost weight from her great new Whole30 that she went on for the last 30 days, she did another round and she lost weight again this time. And what if she shows up and you decide ahead of time, she's doing this Whole30, she's going to show up. What if you told yourself, well, she felt shame in her body the way that she looked. So she sought a solution, and her solution was to do another round of Whole30. It's her body, it's her choice. Because we know that there's always off and on with diets. So these intentional thoughts before you go into these situations will help you find compassion for not only yourself, but for them. And it'll also help you reaffirm your decisions. So your decision to stand firm, your decision to be on this journey, to heal your relationship with food, with your body, you can literally write and practice these. I used to do this when I was younger, and I know I wanted to, you're young, high school young, and you're like going through a breakup, and you need to talk to your boyfriend. Like, you would write it out. I would write out everything I wanted to say so I wouldn't forget. Do it. It's the same thing. Practice those thoughts. And when you get to the dinner, when you get to the barbecue, the family reunion, when you arrive in the situation and those comments start coming at you, because you know they will, you know exactly what to think when you hear them. So you're not sent into the whirlwind of the shame spiral that actually comes from your own thoughts. No, not what they say. It's the thoughts in your head. So you get prepared, and you get prepared for these things. Literally, write it, repeat it, say it, practice it. Have you guys ever done this? Just curious. I have done it, like I said, when I needed to have an important conversation with people, but I didn't think about ever doing it with my body and with diets until I started going through this. And it helps. It works. So you get prepared. That way, when it happens, because it will, things don't change. It's going to be so much easier for you to not go into that shame spiral. So I want to talk and chat a little bit about boundaries too. Boundaries are something you're going to want to do. You're going to want to set up. Setting boundaries might seem completely impossible right now, and that's okay, but just stick with one. I'm going to give you a couple of different types of boundaries, and set your intention going into whatever gathering it is that you're going into. But if you think boundaries will help you, I'm going to give you a few ideas, and there's a couple of different boundaries to think about. So the first boundary is personal boundaries. And this is just knowing that you can walk away. You don't have to put up with it. So if there's talk going on, not only are you prepared, you can walk away. So you can excuse yourself. Take a bathroom break. Walk across the room, see somebody that just came in the door that you needed to go say hi to. Excuse yourself to go talk to somebody else. Pretend that someone needs you and your kids need you outside, and you're going to have to go, and you'll return when you can. And when you return, have a new topic of conversation. Those are just some of the easier things that you can do to set personal boundaries for yourself. And then there's external boundaries. So these you might need a little more like weight, you're lifting weights, you go for the heavy weight, you're getting stronger. So maybe you need a little more empowerment for these types of situations, and that's totally okay. You need to work up to them, because this is like having a one-on-one conversation with somebody. So these are where you might take the person and pull them aside and just say, your comments about my body, about my weight from now on, those comments are off limits. I'm not going to accept those comments anymore. Your comments, you can, and I know that's hard. That's one of the things that you can do, or you can say, I'm not going to have this conversation with you today about my body, about my choices. These are things you might have to work up to. Or even bolder, You can say, if you comment on my body or whatever it is that they comment about, I'm going to leave the conversation. And these types of hardcore boundaries are called external boundaries. It takes some strength. They're firmer for sure. But while you're doing the work, setting some boundaries can be really helpful for people that are triggering you. But I do want to say this, because I've seen this happen before when people are setting boundaries. So I do want to say this and be clear that boundaries aren't a permission slip for you to get angry at the person. You're working on reprogramming your mind, your beliefs. You can't control what they do, what they say, their beliefs. In this situation, it's diet culture. So this is going to be it's going to help you stop being so triggered by other people's diets, by other people's words. When we change our internal belief system, we stop being as triggered. So we talk about this in both of my programs, Finding Body Freedom and Finding Food Freedom. And so many people want to skip to the good stuff. Well, we're not just going to talk about nutrition and exercise and all of that. When are we going to get to that part? When are you going to tell me what I'm supposed to be eating? And believe me, we don't go anywhere without teaching you how to manage your mindset and change your belief systems and thoughts around diets and diet culture. That's why we're ditching diets together in here. It's not easy to do alone. Body neutrality. We talk about body neutrality, and that is like, it's okay not to be body positive. And we're not all going to love our bodies, but let's try to find some good things about our bodies and respect our bodies. So this is a new way of thinking. It's not the way that diet culture has brought us up and created us to think. We look at our current thoughts, our patterns, our behaviors, and our beliefs, and then our current reality. So all of this to say some really crappy things. But I encourage you and I challenge you to do the work today to be prepared for those things. I'd love to teach you how to change that. If you need some help, put an emoji, shoot me an emoji, and I can reach out and we can chat about it. But if you only take one thing home with you today from this coffee chat, I guess it would be that, like, pointing the finger is always easier than looking in the mirror. But the blame game takes it off of yourself. And it's really frustrating because we can't control anything that other people do, but we can control how we react to what people do. And we can keep ourselves from going into that downward spiral of emotional guilt and shame that can come from other people's words. And it can just really not be empowering, you guys. I know that. And taking responsibility will help give you some compassion for them, some compassion for you, and help you to grow. So this truly is what will change your reality in these situations with these people and how you react to others and to their diet mentality. So that is it. As always, reach out to me. Leave me an emoji if you want me to reach out to you and chat about any of this we talked about. If you have further questions, just raise your hand below in the comments. I am thankful that my Chick-fil-A salad didn't get eaten by my cat and my husband saved it. And I'm going to go have my lunch right now. Bye, guys. Good to see you.